Hi there, YouTube. My name's Omega. I've set up a channel because I'm just sick and tired. I'm absolutely sick and tired of the socialist left. I'm sick of the socialist leftist media. I'm sick of the leftist political movements which are destabilizing our society. I'm sick of the left sympathizing with Islam. I'm sick of the left propagating feminism, trying to turn men into virtual manginas in our society. I'm sick and tired of the LGBTI treated like some special class of people who can do whatever the hell they want and get special bathrooms and privileges above the majority of people in whatever country they come from. I am just absolutely sick and tired of the crap. I'm sick and tired of Black Lives Matter. I'm just absolutely beside myself about the reaction of leftist socialists over the Nice attacks. It's an absolute disgrace when I get on some of our major political websites and the first thing I see are these terrorist apologists getting straight on. They're not worried about the fact that 10 little kids were run over. They're not worried about the fact that a lot of people died. All they're worried about is that all they're worried about is if somebody has offended Islam or may offend Islam. And quite frankly, it's ridiculous. And when you really look at that situation, what are you looking at? You go to an Islamic country, you cannot speak against the Quran, you can't speak against their rubbish ideology. And you know, that's because under pain of death, they have a blasphemy law. So essentially the socialist left, in all their wisdom, in Western societies, have created a forum, or they've created an environment where they've essentially brought in a blasphemy law. Anyone that speaks up against Islam is instantly attributed to some sort of race hate group. They are completely incapable of separating the idea that Islam is an ideology. It's a thought process. It's an idea. And you know what? It's a fucking bad idea. It's just a stupid idea. And as soon as you try and enter into any kind of logical debate, you're reasonable, you're factual, you're bringing the tenets of the ideology from a factual basis. They shout you down with words like xenophobia, racism. It's this whole postmodernist sort of carry-on where the left would rather debase debase the people they're talking to so they don't actually have to answer any questions. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what area you look at where leftist socialism is involved. They just employ these same methods, and really all these methods are doing are allowing cycles of hatred to continue. They're allowing cycles of hatred to intensify in our societies. It's creating division. You know, we've got people who are asking why. What do we do after we see 80 people mowed down by some frickin' crazy Islamic fanatic in a truck? What do we do about that? They're trying to articulate their deep distress over the murder of these people. You know, when we're seeing images of little children, I think there's an image of a little child covered by a piece of foil. You know, but when a migrant gets washed up on a beach side, they make sure that there's all these graphic photos of the dead child. But because this involves Islamic terror, we've got the child all covered up, and no one's allowed to see it. They're not allowed to see the ugly frickin' truth of what these animals did, and that's what these people are. I want people to understand these people are animals, and the people who come out and defend and protect them in the socialist left, like white knights thinking they're doing the world a favour, are just as guilty as these lowlives. And I am sick to death of it. We see bombings all around the world. We see rampant shootings. I mean, this is a third major attack in France in a very short time. I got on this website and I just said, you know, can we talk about this logically? Can we enter into a conversation and just examine the ideology? And very, very quickly, the socialist left shouted me down. berated me, tried to public shame me. And what these people don't realise is that they are actually creating an environment for Islamic terror to thrive in the West. They're creating a situation by shutting down all rational debate around this subject where these extreme ideologies can just take hold, they can grow, they can gain traction. They're literally protecting and becoming terrorist apologists. And for the life of me, I just cannot work out why. I cannot work out why. It's more important to the socialist left to protect their narrative than to worry about 80 dead people. I mean, we just had that large shooting at a concert. And the very first day, I think, there was on Al Jazeera an interview with Douglas Murray and some other leftist nutcases. And the questions which were being thrown around were about what we can do so we don't offend Islam. And I saw Douglas Murray's reaction to that. He was just absolutely beside himself with disgust, saying, why are we even talking about this? Can't we talk about the fact that 120 people just got murdered? You know, when we look at Charlie Hebdo, I mean, we have to understand that these people come from theocracies. Now, a theocracy, if you don't understand what that is, it's a country which is ruled at a political level by a religion. So you've got a theocracy. And in these theocracies, there is no tolerance for other faiths. There is no tolerance for gender equality. You know, feminism is a joke. And feminists, you know, I tell you what, feminists are probably the most retarded group of people on earth, because they talk about women's rights, they talk about equality for women, and yet these feminists are silent on this issue. They're silent on the fact that in Saudi Arabia a woman can't even get a car license. They're silent on the fact that if a woman is raped in Islam, she needs, you know, so many male witnesses. Otherwise, it can't be validated that anything happened. And in a lot of cases, if you go to Afghanistan and other Islamic countries, if she's raped, she's then beaten for adultery, maybe even stoned to death. I mean, why are people not openly questioning this ideology? And I've got to, you know, I have to say this, we cannot attribute this to all Muslim people. I don't want to turn this into a race issue. It's not. It's an ideological issue. And every ideological issue, every idea can be debated, and we can surmise whether it is a good ideology or a bad ideology. And I mean, Black Lives Matter is a good one. For example, in America, you've got Black Lives Matter starting to gain traction. As I said at the beginning, I was horrified to see a march in Australia of Black Lives Matter. It's an extremely racist and bigoted ideology. I've tried debating with a few guys who are followers of this movement. I've tried being very reasonable and respectful. I've said I'm not a racist in any way, shape or form. I have a lot of black friends, including African Americans and Australian Aboriginals and all that. I've taken the time to learn about their culture and appreciate it. And I was met with statements like, all white people are inherently racist, all white people are as bad as black slave owners. And this is the kind of rhetoric that they spout out. They literally broadly paint all white people, place them in the same box, instead of taking people for their own merit. So this is just my introduction video. I hope you like it. I'm going to be talking in the future about different issues. I'm going to be centering on this socialist leftist crap that is dividing Western society right now, that's allowing it's allowing the growth of Islamic terrorism. It's allowing minorities to basically rule the roost and tell the rest of the majority what to do. Look, I've got to say this, I do not come under any authority of the leftist socialist ideology. I completely reject I reject these name tags they give people. If I don't like something, if I don't want some leftist Marxist socialist faggot teaching my kid that he can choose his gender, that's my choice, you see. I'm not under any kind of obligation to the socialist left. I've got gay friends. I like Milo Yiannopoulos. I think Douglas Murray is fantastic. These are people I take on I appreciate on an intellectual basis. They are smart. They are eloquent. They know their stuff, and they're not trying to impose some totalitarian ideology on my children. And I'm sick of this totalitarian ideology, which is now being adopted by the LGBTI movement, this socialist Marxism that it's got to the point where now they want to inflict that on society. They want to police speech. They want to create hate speech laws. They want to take away religious freedoms. Look, the one thing people have to understand is in society, people are different. All across society. We are getting to the point on planet Earth where all cultures and ideas are coming together. Earth is turning into an island. And we have to come up with a form of mutual respect. We have to be respectful of one another's differences. And it's okay to disagree. It's okay for me to disagree with homosexual marriage, for example, if I want to. It's okay. Because in a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-faith society, that's to be expected. I don't agree with Islam. Doesn't mean I'm going to try and drag them into court, try and have them thrown in jail. I respect the fact that they're different. As long as they are not violent towards me, as long as they don't get in my face, as long as they don't try and force me into some kind of Islamic ideology, I'm good with that. But that's not what's happening. They're talking about teaching our kids at 4 years old, reading them the Gender Fairy book. They're talking about taking away religious freedoms. They're talking about weaponizing discrimination laws through the court. People don't understand this really, but as soon as in Australia, as soon as you have gay marriage accepted, they're going to be looking to weaponize discrimination laws. And these laws override religious freedom laws. So basically, anyone of any faith will be at the mercy of this minority of LGBTI fanatics. And I tell you what the problem is. It's not all gays. It's not all Muslims. It's not even all the people who are into Black Lives Matter. It's the 10% people. It's the 10%. It's the fanatics that within those groups they fail to call out. They fail to say, this person is a frickin' fanatic, he shouldn't be leading in this group. This is one of the problems with the left. They have a real hard time pointing out the fanatics. In the far right, in the right, yes, they do. If they see somebody who's truly racially bigoted, they reject them. They say, get out of here, man, you've got to be joking. But in the left, it seems like there are no boundaries at all. You'll have these gays for Palestine or these groups. You'll have leftists for Palestine who will sit there and they're literally dancing on the graves of dead Jews. I mean, that's just how extreme they are. And it's the 10% within each of these groups that are taking control in the LGBTI movement, in the Black Lives Matter movement, in all these groups. It's the 10%. Do your history. Have a look at Nazi Germany. It was the 10%, the SS. They took over the country. You go to Palestine, since I mentioned it, who's taken over? Hamas, Fatah, these extreme groups, the 10% again. They're the ones controlling everything. And that's what happens in these groups. The only way we can move forward is with sensible debate and discussing these ideologies, people educating themselves and stop being brainwashed by this leftist media garble. It literally makes me want to vomit. I've stopped watching it. I can't look at it anymore. I can't even turn on the TV. anymore. It just makes me so physically ill. It makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up. I think one of the best things I've ever heard is somebody said the word tolerance is like a mouthful of warm vomit. That's exactly what it's like. That's all from me. This is my introduction video. You can tell that this is going to be a lot of fun. This is Amiga Speaks, and I'll be back soon with another video. See ya.